Welcome to Miles from Her View, the podcast where we dive deep into the unfiltered reality of fitness, strength training, and nutrition within womanhood and motherhood. I am your host, Kat, founder of Kat Fit Strength. I'm a career strength and conditioning coach, entrepreneur, lifelong athlete, and a mom of 2 active boys. In each episode, we explore the unique challenges and triumphs faced by women navigating the complexities of life. From juggling family and career to prioritizing self-care, we dissect the systems and the habits that shape our health and wellness. Join us for real stories, authentic advice, and genuine conversations as we empower each other to embrace our journeys and find strength in vulnerability. Welcome. I'm here with Leah, and she started her career working within the homes of families supporting the mental health of children and parents. After several years of community mental health, she transitioned into group practice where she was able to narrow her niche down and open Rising Sun therapy into she knew what she wanted to do, and she wanted to work with women and specifically new moms. Her practice focuses on teens and women with a mental health and wellness focus. I'm so happy that you're joining me today, and I can't wait to dive into these topics. So, I know you said a little bit in the bio that I read off of how you got to where you are, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about your journey in the mental health space.
Sure. Like I said, starting when you're deep diving with clients in their homes, you get to really see the ins and the outs of families, excuse me, and being able to, use that experience, bring it to the outpatient setting. And when I opened up Rising Sun, I was really determined to work with the moms and the women and kind of the one that's really holding everything together ultimately. And the mom is able to really focus on her relationship, her marriage, to then be able to teach her children how to, regulate the emotions and, foster the values that her and her partner have. And by working with the mother, then I feel like I'm really able to work with the kids and the teens and the adolescents by helping provide this woman, this beacon of someone who's able to regulate their emotions, understand where they came through, work through all those traumas, and really foster a loving environment for her family. So that's why I'm working with the families. Becoming a mom of 2, I went through my own motherhood journey. And the more I learn and the more I talk to the moms, I realize I'm still in my motherhood journey and will always forever be postpartum. And learning along with the moms and being able to support them is, fostering my growth and just this passion I have for all the women out there.
I love that. I love that. It is so true. I find, also being a mom of 2 that, having kids, you learn so much more about yourself. And
Mhm.
it's just it's not a bizarre job, but it's just like, wow, it opens your eyes as to the different experiences and like you know, how life is. And, I know for me, after my first one, that transition from just me to mom
Mhm.
was brutal. And I found that
Mhm.
there wasn't a lot of discussion, or I'm going to say loosely, resources on like, not just how I was feeling, but just it was hard to find me. Like I thought I knew who I was,
Mhm.
but then it was like,
Mhm.
who am I? And this like wasn't even really redefining, but just that grounding of like, what is my being now? So
Mhm.
I know that is an area where you kind of focus too, is that like transition piece from like, okay, either you're new mom again or new mom for the first time. And it's like, it's a very interesting transition. I'd love to hear some more thoughts on that.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's one of the most powerful transitions that anyone can go through because from our inside out, we are transformed. We are changed from the cellular level with our baby cells now in us for almost 30 years. Our brain has changed, our values may have shifted slightly. The things that we thought we wanted to do, even with our careers, may have shifted. And, when we say, finding ourselves and who I am as a mother, that's a big job. That's a big journey. And it takes us a long time to really get there. Whereas it's not talked about that much because it is individualized, but society tells us just to bounce back and get back to your old self. And you can't get back to your old self. There is no bouncing back. You are forever changed, and that's okay. That's the wonderful, powerful piece of becoming a mother. Also, one of the hardest things for a lot of moms to realize and accept ultimately.
Yeah, yeah. And it is that pressure, I feel, is like
Mm-hmm.
it's being talked about, but it's just, how to find, like I love what you said there, was like finding yourself as a mom, of like how it's like things have changed, and that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. And one of the messages I had gotten a lot, and it was kind of frustrating, was being a new mom, was like basically all my hopes and dreams is being just a me, and now a mom, we're gone. And I'm like, but that doesn't always have to take the place. It's going to take
Mm-mm.
some time to find footings for these things. And of course, things change, but it's like, it's not, trying to be very articulate here. It's not everything that you were before. Now your whole title is mom. I think that enhances your whole being. And it's like, there is a lot that you can do. And, I know when I work with my clients, I always say is like, allow for that time of transition. If you are someone who, I hear a common theme with my clients is, I used to be able to work out 4 to 5 times a week. And
Mm-hmm.
now I'm lucky if I can work out one time every 2 weeks. And it's like, you know, that's okay. And you're going to make transitions through there. And here's how we need to adapt with these things, where it's, I hate the term lowering the bar with standards, because you can be someone who's really high achieving
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
not lower the bar. It's just meeting yourself where you are and elevating yourself to where you want to go in that aspect of your life, because it's not, your kids won't be little forever. You will have
Mm-mm.
more energy. And I do find when you make that transition, you really understand like what you really like, the core of like what you want to get done, so to speak, on this earth, and the person you want
Mm-hmm.
to be, and how you want to raise your children, and the principles you want to teach them. So,
Right, right. And I think you said it, it's learning to meet yourself where you are
mhm.
in the moment, in this moment,
Yes.
because where you are with a newborn is going to be so much different than where you are with a toddler and an elementary age and a teenager and a young adult. So it's that constant accepting, where am I right now? And that's constantly changing and
Hmm.
evolving as your kids change and evolve. But I think it's really because you also talked about values and being able to, have your expectations be real within your values, you and your partner's values. And when you do that, it provides some grounding and it can kind of help you come to, this is where I am right now. And when I'm working with moms, it's a lot of accepting, this is where I am now, like you said, and this is where I want to go, as long as it's within my morals, the way I want to raise my kids, and also going maybe against or trying to figure out what I want within societal's understanding or push to what you're supposed to be, which is where the disconnect and the struggle is for a lot of women, because where society wants us as women and moms may not be where you want to put your time and energy or how you want to raise your kids, especially, as the generations evolve, those expectations need to evolve, if that makes sense.
It does. And I love that. And I love that. And I like that distinction of like, kind of the societal view versus like where you're at. And that is a
Mhm.
constant struggle. And, um,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
it has more impact than I think sometimes we feel. Like, it's just like where, it can be out of like this never enoughness, this scarcity of like, I'm always trying to get somewhere else and fulfilling
Mhm.
kind of outside your being. You're drawing more value from something else that's not, versus staying grounded in your own values. And
Mhm.
that can be really tough. And that's where it's, yeah, it's like finding that tribe that kind of helps back and support. And I know, especially being, we're both stateside in the United States, we do have some international listeners. So in the United States, there aren't a lot of supports for family. And, it can be really hard and isolating for, that mom who doesn't have all that help to back up
Mhm.
and is feeling pulled between her dreams of advancing her career, but also having the inability to having full childcare or just the different aspects. And I don't know if you see any of that in your practice of
Mhm.
those challenges that come up, but you know,
Mhm.
what I say, we're not out here giving like treatment advice. This is all helping
Right.
educational purposes. So would love to hear your thoughts on that of not per se how you would guide, but just, perspective in that. So someone listening who might find themselves in that position can
Mhm.
have some resonation there. So
Yeah, absolutely. I think as we become moms, we can feel like it's super lonely because we go to social media and we try to find support. And if you follow the right influencers, the right friend, you will find it, but there's still that disconnect.
mhm.
So within the moms, it's, cliche to say, but you do need your village. As humans, we're not meant to do this by ourselves. We've gotten away from the village and, especially within the states where families are across the country or hours and hours away, it is very important to find the friends, go out in the neighborhoods, see who's around, being able to use social media, even though I tell a lot of moms, you might need to back off a little bit sometimes, but use it to find supports. I can go into many mom Facebook pages and type in, I want to find a friend who's available. You will get responses because everybody's looking for the same thing. We're just not shouting it from the roofs. So it might take a little bit of time to find those other women, to find those other moms, but they're out there. I was blessed enough to be able to, before COVID, find my village and still use them as supports. And knowing that that village may evolve as the kids get older. You have another child, and there's new moms and women coming into your life. So it's that the theme is just that evolving, growing, and being able to find your supports during it because you're going to need it. And I know that they're out there because I see it. And that's one of the reasons that, with Rising Sun, creating the wellness piece to bring women and moms together to show them that, yes, there are other people that want to do and need what you have and need.
Yeah,
So building that is really important.
yeah. And it's huge. And I like what you said, like how it does change. I mean, I know in
Mhm.
my eldest is 13. It's like, it has changed. Like, and it's not
Mhm.
a negative, but it's like, I've had moms coming in and out of my life with different things, and there's no negative, but it's just the different supports or just, I find the young child time was really isolating. But now as he's in middle school, I've found this more of a need to not just myself, but I'm finding it from other moms where it's like we're all kind of bonding together. And
Mhm.
oftentimes it is the moms of his friends, which is great because it's like I want to get to know them too. And there's more independence. He's spending more time out of the home, which is great. He's
Mm-hmm.
his own individual self. But it's like, we're finding like there's, that saying, bigger the kid, bigger the potential problems, or bigger the things. And it's like,
Right.
it's nice to hear from them, or, you know, get those text messages about, hey, everything's great here, or just those different things,
Mm-hmm.
because it is a lot. There is so much going on. And, the big fact is we are most often than not a two working parent household. And, there is a lot of juggling. And I think there's more of an emphasis on needing a village now and
Mm-hmm.
parenting, I don't want to say than there ever was, but because of,
Yeah.
you know, either a need or a desire. I mean, it, having two working parents is a lot to juggle in addition to kids and
Mm-hmm.
all the activities. And then your whole self of like, but what about me time, or that giving back to
Mm-hmm.
me for both you and your partner? It's like it gets a little trivial sometimes. So that's where
Mm-hmm.
the village is very critical.
It is because as you have a 13-year-old, I have a 12-year-old. So it's within this tween teen transition, we're transitioning,
Hmm.
right? Moms these days, at least I didn't have social media growing up, so I don't know the ins and the outs of how to parent someone that has the social media, that has, different interests, and being able to rely on your village is so important because you're not alone, right? They might have tips and tricks that you didn't think of that enhances your parenting,
Yeah.
that gives you that feedback that we need to have that interdependence, especially at such a tricky time
Yeah.
these days with helping the kids. It's a need that we have, but I feel like society says, well, you just should be able to do it all by yourself. And that's just frankly not true. And it just crushes and crushes us with that pressure that we feel. So then we don't reach out, but it really just hurts us when we don't.
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree. Totally agree. And I found it in going to your point, especially about social media, and as kids get older, it's one of the things that has been awesome is like my son has entered into the phone era, and
Mhm.
it has brought great conversations with his friends' parents on like, how are we
Mhm.
all handling these devices?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm struggling with this. And it's been this awesome vulnerability with that piece. And to your point of like society's like you should just know and you should just be able to handle
Mhm.
it, where there's no should in this instance, because especially, you know I didn't grow up, I mean, it was dial-up internet barely in the house, and it was like, all of those different things. So
Yeah.
social media, all these things have changed massively. And you know I know my mom has, she didn't parent with us. So I'm not saying I can't go to her for this, but she wouldn't know how to
Mm-mm.
offer, hey, this is what I did. Do you remember why I put this? There was none of
Right.
that.
Mm-mm.
So, she says, she's like, I don't know how you parent in today's world. I'm like, you
Right.
know what? I don't know how I do it either. So, but it is
Right.
that like camaraderie from other parents of like, hey, we're doing this, we're doing it. And so I think from what I've seen, it has helped reinforce with my child like great habits of being like, hey, well, your friends aren't doing this, or
Mm.
and it's not just a, oh, go along with the crowd, but it's like there's no fear of missing out, that FOMO for him, that like, hey, these rules are here, like they don't have
Right.
their phones, so they're out of touch. This is downtime. This
Mm-hmm.
is why we need to do this. And I think that bond and solidarity, I'm going to say, with those parents and working with
Mm-hmm.
devices, so far we're still we're still an under
Yeah.
is helping that. It's also, it's not that I don't want my kid to struggle, but it's like I get it. He's a very social kid, so it's like, yeah, I want
Mm-hmm.
him to have the phone, but at the same point, there should be boundaries. I mean, I have to
Right.
put my phone away. Like it is
Right.
hard. It's a distraction.
Yeah.
So
Yes. And I like what you said because it's true that we don't know, in essence, how to parent now, because every parent, especially with your first child, you're just trying to do it. You're just trying to wing it. And, I think we get lost on social media because we feel like, well, they know what they're doing. Look, they have everyone dressed nice for pictures, or they have a clean house. And I remind the moms all the time, no, they don't.
Mhm.
No, they don't. Right? We're all trying to figure it out. Like you said, nobody really knows what we're doing. This is a new age with social media technology that no one had to navigate before. So when you can reach out to your friends, which is fabulous that you're all on the same page, but having that feedback, having that support to say, they're doing it, we're going to try it, and we're all doing it together.
Yeah.
You don't feel like you're just out there by yourself trying to figure it out. It's the togetherness that really helps, women feel empowered, and moms feel like, you know what, I think I can do this.
Yeah. I love that. It is nice when you have that, and especially those
Mhm.
tough days too, having that camaraderie when there's tough days, because there's
Mhm.
gonna be a lot of tough days and a lot of great days.
Mhm.
And just
Mhm.
knowing that you have let's say, a safe container to just be like, it was a really tough day, or
Mhm.
commiseration with the struggles of parenting is huge, without a judgment, or, oh, my child never does, or, oh,
Mhm.
and that's where I feel like sometimes, yes, social media can make that seem like, that family's always dressed nice, their home is always clean,
Mhm.
or they never have a bad day in parenting, or there's no struggles on that side. But it's only a picture. It's a quick like glance
Mhm.
into someone's reality, and you can make anything look great for a split second. Like,
Mhm.
it's the other times, or what's outside the frame, that I don't want to say truly matters, but tells more of the story to
Mhm.
who that person is or what's going on. And it's not always a negative thing. It's just like that is, you know, social
Mhm.
media is just a quick glance. So,
Yes, it is. And, kind of jump on, that judgment piece, that we can feel judged by scrolling through social media if we're not, or if our place doesn't look like that, or we're not doing that, we kind of judge ourselves. And
mhm,
there's a lot of self-compassion that I work with my clients. And as women and moms, we need to provide for each other and ourselves.
yeah.
Because if we're just walking around judging ourselves, we're absolutely going to feel like we're not enough, and we'll never be enough if we continue to judge, especially against someone else who you think has it all together. But then it comes back to those values, those family values. Well, maybe they value the cleaning over the homework time that you're spending with your kid, right? So it always comes back to that grounding of, well, this is what I want. This is what my partner and I have decided. And I'm not going to judge myself for it. And I'm going to know that I am enough because I am working within my my morals, the way I want to raise my family, So that helps us get away from that the horrible feeling of judgment that society's going to judge you no matter what. You
Mhm.
might as well, be kind to yourself and be kind to the other women and moms that are struggling along with you.
Are you curious about CatFit Strength? Well, CatFit Strength is designed to help you achieve your fitness goals with confidence and clarity. Whether you're a busy mom juggling multiple responsibilities, a woman navigating unique challenges of prenatal, postpartum, or perimenopause, or an athlete looking to enhance your performance, CatFit Strength has you covered. Let's get down to it. CatFit Strength offers personalized programs tailored to your unique needs, goals, and ensuring you get the most out of every workout. Expert guidance provided for you with the understanding of the importance of balancing strength training, cardio, and mobility. Flexible workouts designed to fit into your busy schedule, whether you're at home or at the gym or on the go. So why choose CatFit Strength? I believe in creating sustainable fitness habits that adapt to your lifestyle. I focus on helping you lift effectively, move better, and feel stronger every day. Plus, emphasis is on realistic goal setting, celebrating every win, and helping you stay motivated and inspired. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I love what you said there. It's like, that go back to that groundedness piece of like knowing your values and knowing what is important. Because, you know, I see some people may value, like you said, perfectly cleaned house and never having a crumb on the counter, and that is a
Mhm.
huge value to them. And someone may be like, it's really not a big deal. And
Yep.
both are perfectly fine and 100% right. And I think that is something that is huge. Just identifying that, yes, that's okay for them. And I fully support that.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to let that alter how I feel or about myself, because it's huge. I mean, and I
Mhm.
as I tell my kids, I'm like, everyone lives differently, and that's okay. There's no right and wrong with like, it's what your core values are, and looking at that and, staying grounded within yourself, which I think is helping. I don't know. I mean, but it is,
Yeah.
it's like,
Mhm.
it's, you can't get too caught up on like focusing on everything else, and
Mhm.
because it just tears you down inside.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And I'm sure you're doing a fabulous job of parenting and, mommying all over the place, but being able to, you know, come back to those values and, that judgment piece is really hard because we're constantly putting ourselves up against the other people and just what all the society shoulds that we've been told for a very long time, that it's a constant battle with that, especially right after, bringing it back to, becoming a mom and that
mhm,
massive transformation. We don't know how much we're being changed physically and mentally. But within that space, it can be very hard to find our values because they may have shifted a little bit
yeah,
once we bring the baby home, right? So
yeah,
it's giving yourself that compassion and not judging as you try to figure that out. It's going to take probably longer than a year. And, that compassion and that support is necessary as you go through this life journey.
yeah. I'd love to hear your thoughts on, and I'll kind of speak from my own experience. When I was going through that, I had a lot of people, from various, I'm gonna say,
Mhm.
relations of my life, telling me like, oh, I'm gonna say that you should be able to do this, or why isn't this like, and maybe it was all from a place of love, but I just remember I was drowning as a first time mom. I was trying to figure it all out and going through that process of like redefining my or understanding my core values, or even deepening the core values I had, or even
Mhm.
maybe realizing I had core
Yes.
values. And then it was a lot of, and I don't think it was out of a place of, judgment from those who may be super
Mhm.
closer to me than further away. But it was just, I remember
Mhm.
being like, developing the shoulding, the guilt and the shame, that like, quote unquote
Mhm.
mommy guilt of like, well, of course all my like the laundry should be done, the house should be perfectly clean, and the food, I should be able to make all the food, and yes, I have to work a job, all the things, like I should handle it
Mhm.
all and never be tired, always, all of those things. But,
Mhm.
you know, what would you say to someone who's realizing, that struggle, and how
Mhm.
they just feel overwhelmed, and in that, just in the deep thick of it, like what would you
Yeah.
say to someone?
First off, that they're not alone. We are all there. Every single one of us is there at one point. And with those shoulds, I work very closely with my clients on the shoulds because we have to understand that the shoulds are from this they. They think. we should be able to do it. This person says it. The they is society. Maybe your grandmother or maybe your mom, because she had it all together all the time. So it's understanding, where are those shoulds coming from? And is it actually coming from a place where you value their opinion? Or
Mhm.
maybe, it's someone like, I really want to do it like them because I feel like it's in line with my values. Okay, try it, see if it works. But it's recognizing the shoulds, recognizing that it's coming from somebody else's expectation. Do you want to take that expectation on? Because that's her choice. It's your choice to do that, to do the laundry at that time, to do the dishes at that time. And when we can realize the shoulds are there, but that's somebody else's expectation, and that we have the choice to either do it or not do it, and then working on that guilt, saying, even if I don't do the dishes, I'm not doing anything wrong. It was my choice.
Right. I love that.
And a lot of that compassion to manage that mom guilt, because it is the others that say we have to do it. But then is that value you and your partner, or you and your partner saying, you need to do the dishes, you need to do this? And then I'd probably challenge that also, saying, is that realistic when you have a 6-month-old at home? Probably not,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of what is realistic expectations when you have a 3-month-old, when you have a 6-month-old. That whole first year, you may have to lower expectations, and it's totally okay.
Yeah. And it's temporary. And there's time,
Mm-hmm.
I like to use the analogy of, and I think it goes really well too with young children, is like then when they start to learn to walk, like they're in that whole transformation of getting mobile. It's like first you have to kind of like sort of lift your head, develop those neck muscles, and then you're slowly trying to push yourself off the ground. And it's like that's when you're going through this whole process of just trying to understand those, not just your core values, but like
Mm-hmm.
rediscovering, developing new skills. And I love what you said with like the choice. It can be scary and you're gonna falter. Like a young child learning to walk, there's gonna be falter and falling down, but at no point, and as commonly said out there, at no point a child's like, oh, this just isn't for me because I've fallen down a couple times. It's like, try it out. It's a new skill. It needs to
Mm-hmm.
have, just like a muscle, it needs to be developed, and you need to kind of stumble through that. And, it's okay. That process is okay. It's not quitting, or if, we learn through failure, but it's like you're going to learn more about and trusting yourself. And you're going to, I hate to say learn faster, but the more compassionate you are with yourself in that
Mm-hmm.
time, and staying
Mm-hmm.
curious, like, hey, this isn't working. Let's try a new plan, and that will help ease the transitions like a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
like the thing I say with my clients is, it's with fitness, it's going to evolve and change throughout your life. And that is okay. And nothing is going to
Mm-hmm.
stay a constant in your life. Like nothing should be like homeostasis all the time like that. Like there
Mm-hmm.
needs to be certain changes. And the more you stay curious versus judgmental or like that guilt or shame, it's going to enhance your experience, and you're going to stick with it longer.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think that curiosity can help moms figure out, well, where did this should come from? And why do I want to keep it?
Mhm.
Or where did this expectation come from? And what would happen if I don't fulfill that expectation? Right? Because, like you said, with fitness is going to evolve as you grow and you evolve as a person. Parenting does too.
Mhm.
You're going to change each stage your child changes. You have to.
Yeah.
They're the greatest teachers of constant change and being flexible and being able to change along with them. and not be so rigid in parenting or our expectations of even being a mother, because we have to parent this little human. And if we have more than one child, we might have to be really flexible because parenting may look completely different.
Yeah.
And then one thing you do with one child, you might throw out the window because the second child's going to demand or need something else.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have two polar opposite kids, so I know that
Right?
very well.
Right. It's
Yeah.
amazing how that happens. The one comes out into a certain way, and the second one comes out, nope, totally different.
Yeah. And it's yeah, which is cool. And I like what you said there. It's I love that. Yeah. What would you say to I know this is something that I hear from a lot of my clients. I've been through it. I felt it. Is that piece of filling your cup, like finding that space in such a busy
Mhm.
time where I hear, and I've had these thoughts myself, but I hear this from my clients of, I don't know, I want to fit myself in, but I don't know where to fit myself in. Or like sometimes it's, I feel guilty taking time for
Mhm.
myself. Whatever that space may entail, I hear that, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, especially with in that new transition time of,
Mhm.
becoming a first time mom or learning to take that time for yourself. So,
Mhm. Yeah, that self-care piece, that's a necessity, even, with a newborn. It is finding your village, finding your support, finding someone who can come and hold the baby while you take a nap.
mhm,
Someone who can come and just sit with you, bring you your favorite drink and a meal, and just sit with you. Or it's extending a shower or a bath, even by 2 minutes, if that's all you have, right? And, I say the shower because hopefully you can have a partner or somebody come and be with the baby, especially in the early days. So you can take some time. If that is literally all you have, incorporating things like very nice smelling shower or bath melts, your favorite soaps, lighting a candle. It's making the environment
mhm,
as enjoyable and pleasant as possible and using your senses to really enhance your experience of whatever you have. Um, so I say the shower or bath because you will eventually take a shower or a bath, and being able to enhance it is helpful. Just starting some breathing practices throughout the day. Because if you sit and actually breathe for 1 to 5 minutes, it's going to feel a lot longer than 1 to 5 minutes. And it really slows down the time where we feel like our time's just flying by, especially in the beginning where your sleep isn't consistent. So you may not know what part of the day it is. So being just able to sit. So even if you're nursing or feeding the baby, get some breathing in. Just regular deep breaths, doesn't have to be anything fancy, but it'll slow everything down. You'll regulate your nervous system. You'll feel more grounded.
mhm.
So if that's all you have, that's all you have. And then as the baby gets a little bit older and you can take some time, it's really talking to someone and say, hey, I'm going to take an hour or 15 minutes to an hour and just say, I'm going to go to my favorite park and just sit there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and just lay down in the bed, which can be hard for moms because then you're still hearing
Yeah.
and on alert. So if you can go at least outside, that would be best. So you can really disconnect. It's that disconnecting and not constantly being overstimulated. I've even told moms, if you're so overstimulated and someone is there, because your village is there, can take the baby or the child, just even take a weighted blanket, go under the covers, put on calming music or nothing,
Mhm.
because as moms, we get overstimulated very quickly. So if we can be in a dark space, then we'll be able to feel, just release it and feel a little bit rejuvenated afterwards.
Yeah, these are awesome, awesome, great practices. And they sound so simple, but they are so effective.
Mm-hmm.
And it is simple, but yes, hard to implement.
Mm-hmm.
And the breathing thing is so worth it. It's one thing I know I incorporate, especially with clients in the like
Mm-hmm.
when they're new moms or new moms again. I'm like, yes, from an exercise standpoint and from like in those early postpartum weeks and months, we want to reconnect with those muscles and tissues there. And I'm like, focus on breathing. And also all the added benefits, it slows down times, you're
Mm-hmm.
helping regulate your nervous system. You are just providing space and giving back to yourself in that essence. And
Mm-hmm.
it seems weird, like, oh, I breathe all the time, but no, really breathing. And it's not
Mm-hmm.
this like exacerbated, like huffing and puffing, but just
Right.
when you breathe, you start to relax other parts of your body, your joint, so it has a calming effect. And for
Mm-hmm.
like clients when they're on the go all day and working, up, rushing, getting around out of the house to then, so to speak, their 9 to 5, and then smashed into the post 5 hours, whether it's, you know, getting the kids ready for the, food and bed and,
Mm-hmm.
bath time routines, all those things, or you're like, I'm in the era of mommy taxi service to all the different activities and sports and homework, it's a lot, and finding those moments, and they don't have to be too terribly structured. It can, like, one of my favorite is just go outside and feel the sun on your face and just listen to
Yep.
the sounds around you. Ditch the
Yep.
phone, and if the thoughts, the to-do list, like to your point, like just laying down without an intention of sleeping, that
Mm-hmm.
has such a relaxing effect on the body. And I love what you said is like, it's hard because you hear the kids and that.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing
Mm-hmm.
it was hard for me to step away, but I needed to because of
Yeah.
overstimulation. But now my kids know, I'm like, mommy's had enough. Mommy needs a timeout to refill.
Yes.
And it's like, dad's there.
Yes.
Dad's on
Yep.
call. My
Yep.
door's closed because I need a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen that as like a trickle down effect where my kids are like, you know what? I've had enough. I need to take a break.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to just
Yes.
go up here. I just need a moment for me. And I'm like, awesome.
Yep.
Because helping with that, it's hard to learn, not impossible, but that emotional regulation. And when you can
Mm-hmm.
decode some of that, you have the ability to just decompress for a moment without getting to the red zone. Or, you
Yeah.
know, for moms, we get stress. I mean, it's all stress. And that's not a way you want to live. You want to live more
Mhm.
fulfilled and happier.
Right. And we're intentional, right?
Yes.
You are intentionally saying, mommy needs a timeout, right? Tell
Mhm.
my clients all the time, mommy needs a timeout. Mommy's going to go rest. You are role modeling to your kids exactly what you want them to do. They're not going to do it if you tell them to go calm down.
No.
No, but they're going to catch on,
Mhm.
right? Mommy needs a timeout. They go, uh-oh, I need a timeout. I'm going to go rest. You go, perfect. Number one predictor of a child, feeling safe, secure, good mental health is their mother's mental health. We have to take care of ourselves for our children because we are role modeling every day what they're doing. And that's not to say to put on any more guilt, because
Right.
initially when I thought that, I was like, oh my God, that's a lot of pressure. It's not. It's if you are learning, they are learning. So
Mhm.
it's taking that self compassion so they can learn self compassion, right? Take
Yes.
that time out so they learn to take time out,
Mhm.
right? So it's the mommy self care is necessary. And we don't have to feel guilty about it because we're teaching our kids what is necessary. So I hope that helps, moms to remember that because our kids need to see us do it, we can hopefully remove some of that guilt and understand that guilt coming from society's expectations that says you're supposed to do it all. So why are you laying down?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, that is huge. What you said right there is a huge takeaway. It's like, yeah, this has been awesome. Awesome. It's
Thank you.
got so many great takeaways. And I would say to anyone out there listening, re-listen, take out, note and paper, and or just take 30 seconds to have an intentional breath. And
Mhm.
that, will be huge. It is impactful. And that I just love what you said there too, that taking care of your own mental health is going to help with, your own children. And it's definitely not a guilt thing. That is
Mhm.
huge, huge.
Yeah.
Where can anyone listening find or follow you?
Sure, sure. So risingsuntherapy.com is the website. We're located in Harleysville, but also virtual to anyone in Pennsylvania. So that has our therapists and it has our monthly events all within that website. I can be followed on Facebook at Rising Sun Therapy. And my Instagram is just my name, Leah Andreoni. So that has everything that we're doing also.
Awesome. That will be in the show notes for anyone who is either driving, walking, or laying down and didn't want to write it down. That'll be in the show notes for you so you can see that there. But this is great. And thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining me on another episode of Miles from Her View. Your support means the world to me, and I truly appreciate you being a part of our community. If you found today's episode helpful and want to stay informed about all things CatFit Strength, make sure to subscribe to our weekly newsletter. You'll receive exclusive insights, tips, and updates straight to your inbox. To sign up, simply visit the show notes or the subscription link. To discover more about CatFit Strength programs and how you can ignite your fitness journey, head over to our website at www.fit. There you'll find everything you need to invigorate your path to strength and resilience. Once again, thank you for tuning in, and I can't wait to connect with you in our upcoming episodes. Take care, and remember, act to take the next step.